Hey everyone, let's see what we have from an agent to agent evaluation space. So we support different type of agent evaluations here. One is chat, one is voice only, phone caller, chat and voice. The difference between a voice only and a phone caller is basically you have something within your browser where you just talk and things happen, and that's basically something what voice only means. And a phone caller is basically you just have a number and your agents behind it, and basically a user calls and talks to your agent over a phone number, right? And that's exactly what a phone caller is. So let's go ahead and see how and what we do from a phone caller agent. So the first step is what we expect from the user is to provide their entire agent's prompt. So we actually have a bot under test, which is basically a customer service bot, and we expect the users to provide their entire a prompt of their actual bot. They can also provide more information, and they can upload files like PDFs, MS Words, and probably there's a MP3 file where you're talking about what is your bot doing and what are the capabilities of the bot as well. And of course, you can give additional context, and the additional context can have like, your test data or something more that you think the Lambda test agent should know, which will help it to, simulate multiple scenarios. And once you have this prompt given, the step number 2 is all about generating scenarios. And what we do over here, right? So you could select any number of scenarios that you want to generate and select the language that your bot supports. So let's say, for example, your bot's a multilingual bot. It can speak both English, Hindi. So we have multiple languages as well. So we can enable it like Spanish, French, and Romanian and stuff like that. And once you select those languages, you could go ahead and select what kind of personas that you want to attach to these scenarios that we are going to generate. So we have a bunch of personalities as well. And of course, you want to give some special instructions to Lambda test bot, where do this, don't do this. This is like a test data, or you could say that when the bot's asking for a name, date of birth, you could basically have all those informations over here. And then you click on generate scenarios. So you would typically see some scenarios getting generated. So over here, if you see, it says a frustrated customer with a crashing software, and you want to know more about what is this all about, right? So go in. So you see a scenario name, you see the description, what is this scenario basically going to do all about. And of course, we have some expected outputs as well, that what you feel that you need to evaluate your agent against. And this is where we bring the human in the loop. You could go ahead and add more expected outputs, or if you feel that there is something which does not fit, you could also go ahead and edit, and you can basically save the scenario, right? And again, you feel like you want to change the persona, you could still sort of do that. Once you have the scenarios generated, what is the next step that you want to do? So you're going to create a suite. It's because suite is nothing but a collection of scenarios. So you could click on create suite. You can select any number of suites that you want to do. Select the phone number, select the voice. We have multiple voices, and of course background sounds. So if you see over here, we have something called as view agent profiles. So we do support like a bunch of personas, and at the same time you can also add your personas over here if you feel that there are certain personas which is not present with us, right? And with that, we support like about 150 different voices, and different accents, gender, a lot of these stuff. And of course, we also have some background noises, because we believe that every simulated call should be represented like a real user, right? So probably let's imagine a user is calling your bot from a very busy factory, or they are in a very noisy space, or probably they're in the market and stuff like. So we want to simulate those kind of real world environments as well, and which is very important when you want to try to evaluate how your bot's basically behaving. So we do have that, and we are open to configure if you feel that there are certain background noises that you would want. We are more than happy to get incorporated with it. And once you have the suite created, the next thing that you basically want to do is run. And now when you run, because each of these scenarios have been allocated with a mobile number or a phone number, so you could just click on run. So once you click on run, what happens behind the scene? So behind the scene, Lambda test agent is basically come alive, and it's going to call your agent under test, and they're going to have a conversation, right? So I'm going to take one such result where we already have some results out here. So you see the frustrated customer with the crashing software, and you see that's the transcript between the two bots. That's the LT agent, and of course your agent, which is the app under test. And you could also listen to the
Hi
conversations
there.
as well, which we store for your references later on. And from an analytics point of view, there are a bunch of these analytics that we capture. What is the average latency, when your bot's speaking? And we also capture the CSAT score, which is very, very important. And was there a AI to human handoff happening in the space? And your intent recognition, or it could also be your first call resolution. And was there any deviation, in this entire call? Of course, in this call, there's no deviation over here. And the next aspect is about validations results, right? Because this is one of the key things that when for each of the scenarios, like if you see in the beginning, we generate some of the expected outcomes, and we also validate them based on how the call has been gone through. And we don't just go on the transcript, but we go ahead and evaluate the entire scenario based on the audio file, right? So we exactly know the tone. Was the bot professional? Was it empathetic and stuff like that? And if you go through here, and if you see for each of these scenarios, everything has been passed. It's 100%. And you see for this scenario, the agent must acknowledge the customer's frustration using empathetic language. Example, I understand that's frustrating. So the agent should use a phrase that shows understanding of the customer's frustration, right? And the exact result, what has happened over here is the agent acknowledge the customer's frustrated by stating, I understand that's frustrating, and I would be too in this situation, right? So there's an evidence that we capture saying that, the bot basically spoke the sentence at the 17th second during the call. And, I understand that's frustrating, and I too would be in the situation, right? And we're also working on getting this entire timestamp deep link, so that you could go ahead, click on it, and listen to it on real. And there's another very interesting aspect when we look into this. So if you go over here, you can also schedule your jobs. That means you could basically schedule it, so it's more like a cron that you want to run this every Monday. Or you can also basically do a custom expression like a cron job, and or you want to do this every hour and schedule it. So that means as you schedule this, so this job's basically going to run on that time on whatever you've basically configured it to, right? And that's around the entire call aspect, right? So once the call's done, you basically also want to get a high level summary of how your bot has been performed iteratively, right? Which is very, very important. So you click on the summary tab. So we go into the suite, and you could see that, this frustrated customer with the crashing software, which ran like twice, has been performed well. From a validation result, it's been 100%. The average latency has been good. Task completion has been good. Of course, the first call resolution. And again, these are something that can also be configured from an analytics point of view. If you want to see that you want to bring in more of these, you could do. And also, the thresholds for these can also be configured. That's pretty much around the phone call agent. Thank you.